now?
Yeah, yes, we can go ahead with
Yes,
the.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Pritika, ma'am,
Yes,
you can start.
yes, sir.
You can start. Yes, sir.
Good evening to one and all. And now let's start with the commencement of this session, FDP program, 6-day FDP program organized by SREE THYAGARAJA College along with Bardiyar University. Every new day is another chance to change your life. With these quotes, I, Mrs. Bhanupritika M., Assistant Professor, Department of English, SREE SARASWATI THYAGARAJA College, would like to commence the 6-day Faculty Development Program, Session 1 today. It is the art of leading and guiding a team in a manner that success of one is directly linked to the success of a team. Now, I would like to invite our head of the Department of English, Dr. J. Das, to present the welcome address. So please, we welcome you.
Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Happy afternoon, everyone. I feel much privileged to extend a warm welcome to one and all present here. I wholeheartedly welcome everyone to this 6-day faculty development program on professional and communicative English, jointly organized by the Department of English and Foreign Languages, Bardiyar University, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, and the Department of English, SREE SARASWATI THYAGARAJA College, Pollachi, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. At this juncture, I record my sincere thanks to Bardiyar University, Coimbatore, and the management of SREE SARASWATI THYAGARAJA College for permitting us and enabling us to conduct this FTP. I feel much privileged to take this colossal opportunity to extend our heartiest welcome to our esteemed chief guest, Dr. P. Nagaraj, Head Department of English and Foreign Languages, Bardiyar University, Coimbatore, one of the conveners of this FTP, who has accepted our invitation and honored us with his ecstatic presence. I cordially welcome you, sir. It indeed gives me immense pleasure to extend our cordial welcome to Professor R. Padmanabhan, Dean Academic Affairs, SREE SARASWATI THYAGARAJA College, a voracious reader who has been encouraging everyone to achieve their goals and has always been a pillar of support in all our endeavors. At this juncture, I feel proud to welcome our Dean. I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. I also extend my warm welcome to the forthcoming session speakers for attending the inaugural ceremony of the FTP. I'm happy to welcome you, professors, especially Dr. J. Sundar Singh has joined now from Coimbatore. I welcome you, sir. I extend my heartiest welcome to all our participants, nearly 1,200 participants. People are joining now. From various parts of India and from various universities, colleges, and institutions. To name a few, there are participants from Jammu and Kashmir, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bhopal, Lucknow, Punjab, Delhi, Gujarat, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and so on. One international participant, the professor is from Thailand. Dear participants, I am highly delighted to welcome you all to this 6-day FTP. I am so glad to welcome the participants from Bardiyar University, Coimbatore, and from the colleges affiliated to Bardiyar University and participants from our college. I extend my heartiest welcome to you all. I am fortunate to have my faculty members who have been a great support in all our moves. I feel and I extend my cordial welcome to all faculty members. Department of English, SREE SARASWATI THYAGARAJA College, Pollachi. Once again, I welcome you all to this 6-day faculty development program. All the best. You can use this opportunity, and there are eminent professors. Okay, you can have a lot of ideas on professional and communicative English. I encourage you all to take part for all the 6 days. You may have an eye-opening sessions, and you will have what you could say. You will learn a lot of things. I wish everyone all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Benevolence alone will not make a teacher, nor will learning alone do it. The gift of teaching is a peculiar talent and implies a need and a creativity deep in himself. Now, I would like to invite such a personality, Professor R. Padmanabhan, Dean Academic Affairs, Sri Saraswati Tyagaraja College, to deliver the presidential address. We welcome you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone who has participated in this wonderful faculty development program, organized jointly by Sri Saraswati Tyagaraja College Department of English and Bharatiyar University, Coimbatore. And to begin with, I am very happy to know that more than 1,200 participants have joined this program to undergo different academic experience and learning process during the course of 6 days. Okay. Now, once again, my hearty welcome and also my greeting, congratulations, everything to all the participants in and around the country. I'm so happy at least one participant from Thailand has joined us. A special thanks to that participant. And I must say a few words about the program that is being conducted today, 6 days. And as far as I'm a teacher, I want to tell you that teacher is the kingpin of the society, the archstone of the society. He is the defense of the country. And his main job is not just to teach whatever he knows in the subject concerned, but his main job is to convert, to transform every individual into a great personality, to become a good citizen of the country. That is the very purpose. Education means only that, transforming every individual into a good personality. That is the need of the hour, anywhere, in any part of the world, whichever country it might be. And in India, it is very much needed. The teacher has to play a very major role, a big role, and he is the ultimate to give solutions to all the problems that the country is facing, maybe political, social, economic, or any other problem. So a teacher must be an excellent personality. He should be a knowledge head. He should be a multi-skill oriented person. He should be an epitome of, virtues and the pink of perfection in all respects. So normally our institution, Sri Saraswati Tyagaraja College, it has been conducting this kind of a faculty development program right from 2004 onwards, 2004. And I must say a few things about our program also. We conduct 3 types of program. The major program for all the people is during May, June. We call it a common program. We invite all people. But right now, we have been doing it only internally, only for our own faculty. But during the last 2 years, we have ventured to invite people from other universities, other colleges, and so on. The second program we conduct during November, we call it workshop. So it is meant for our people, our faculty of all kinds. And another programs, a third Saturday program every month. So 3 types of program we have been doing right from 2004-5 onwards, and we are marching towards achieving our goal. So I want to repeat, unless and until a teacher is an excellent person, unless and until a teacher has got his own vision and mission, I think the purpose of driving the country into an excellent is not at all possible. We cannot achieve all the dreams we have had from our leaders, from our elders, from our university educationists, and so on. Cannot be achieved unless and until the teacher is an excellent personality. So to mold and shape the teacher, our idea is to convert the ordinary into extraordinary. First, the teacher should be an excellent teacher. So now this is what we are doing, what we have been doing at STC for all the faculty. Now, our department, the Department of English, has taken some special steps to organize this program, and the benefit of it we felt should go to all the English faculty in and around the country. That's why we have invited and very carefully faculty from all over India, from institutions, from universities and all that, even from schools. Some of the teaching faculty have joined. It gives us immense joy to think that the program has become a very successful one. So my special thanks to Bardiyar University for joining us to organize this program jointly, and a special, thanks to our department faculty, the head of the department, and the former head, Vanilla Nancy, and all other young faculty who, burn midnight oil to achieve whatever they have dreamt of. And my thanks to all those people. Now, this program, development program, is organized for 6 days on mainly on communicative English and professional English. I need not tell you because all of you know very well the importance, the significance of English language. English language is an international language, easiest language. Anybody can learn the language very easily. And the standard of English earlier was very high. As a student, somewhere between 1960 to 65, when I studied at St. Joseph's College, Trichurapalli, I was very much proud of my teachers. They used to speak excellent English, whether they belonged to the Department of English or history or economics, sociology or psychology, commerce, whatever it is. Even Tamil teachers used to speak excellent English in those days. But the main reason was they used to read quite a lot, all kinds of books in literature, all kinds of books in other, domain, maybe economics or history, sociology, politics, whatever. They used to read quite a lot of books. And therefore, their teaching was good, their English was good, and we were so much attracted to sit in the class and listen to their excellent teaching, their language. So we would remain spellbound in each and every class handled by our own teachers. But nowadays, that percentage is decreasing. My main reason I want to tell you, please don't mistake me, the reading habit among our current faculty, especially among 50% of the youngsters, reading habit is slowly declining. I don't know why. The reason you know already, I need not spell it out very frankly. So I want to tell you, you have to read. And most of the people think grammar is a major problem, and in English, and grammar gives us problem. We don't know to speak, write, and all that. Why do you worry about grammar? I ask you a very simple question. We speak our mother tongue so nicely, so fluently, so effectively, attracting all the people around us. How is it possible? I ask you, how many of us know the grammar of our mother tongue? As a Tamilian, I speak Tamil. I speak a good Tamil too. But I know the grammar. I don't know the grammar part of it. How am I able to speak good Tamil? Or anybody who could speak mother tongue, maybe Malayalam or Kannada or Telugu or Hindi, whatever it is. How do they speak? Because the group, behavior. When we are mingling ourselves with the society and listen to what they speak, the entire language gets into our blood and grammar comes on its own. So when we learn grammar along with the language we speak, if that experience is being supported by excellent, good amount of reading, then we will become good teachers. So my point is, the focus today of this, FDP is on communicative English. Communicative English, okay. We learn it under part 2, communicative English. Now the Tamil Nadu government, TANSKI, a special organization, has introduced now professional English. Most of the people, I think, may know what is meant by professional English, and it is a very simple one. And the physics people speak English, commerce people speak English, psychology people speak English, mathematics people, all people speak English, but they have to be very careful in using the special terminology, the jargons they use in their subjects. So they should know the special meaning of the jargon that are being used in their subject. So to help them to learn how professionally, knowing everything about the subject, about the jargon, how they should speak and write, and to train them that way, I mean, the professional English program has been introduced, and STC is proud to say that we have taken a venture to introduce from this year onwards. We have already introduced, and classes are being conducted in professional English. So I don't want to take much of your time, but one thing I would like to tell you, and English is the link language. Though it is a language, it is a language. Wherever you go, you can speak. Without knowing English, if you go abroad, if you go even to North, and if you don't know Hindi, we cannot speak. But if you know English, we can manage the situation. So all such things are there. I want to, tell you, you're all English teachers. One thing I want to insist upon, please read a lot, the literature part of it. I used to tell my own faculty in the department, they should have read minimum some 15 plays of Shakespeare, 15 dramas of Shakespeare. And you please make it a point to read in depth. And some people say Shakespeare is outmoded. That speaks nonsense. If anybody ventured to say Shakespeare is out of, dilapidated, old thing and all that, it's absolute nonsense. You have to read Shakespeare. You have to read John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress. You have to read, the books written by the great historian, American historian, Will Durant. He has written 9 big volumes, The Age of Civilization. How many of you, if you have not heard of it, please, take some special steps to go through those books. And the abridged version of Will Durant book, The Story of Philosophy. It's a book which speaks much on the great literary giants. You can know about Socrates, you can know about Francis Bacon, you can know about Spencer, you can know about Voltaire, you can know something on Rousseau. All these things are the great books. There's so many. Read a lot of books, history books. History books will help you to support your English communication. And so many other books are there. You can just have a dialogue, have a talk with your faculty, and they will tell you. But one special information I want to tell you, English, I am fond of reading Bible, English version of it. I think so far as I'm concerned, Bible is the best book of literature. It is the best book of literature. The English in which it is written is excellent. I want to make an earnest appeal to all the English faculty who have participated in this program. Please try to read. There are proverbs, there are revelations, there are the Psalms, there are so many things said in beautiful English in Bible. So make it a point. I don't say that you should read it from the religious. I am not coming to that part. That is different. I say I want you to read Bible from learning English, excellent English point of view. So these are all some of the things I want to tell you. I think our teachers, English teachers, they should do a wonderful job. Your students should learn more from you. They should speak high of you, how beautifully he speaks. There was a teacher at Jamal College where I studied my PU. Edward Thomas. He was an excellent triple MA, gold medalist, triple MA in English, gold medalist. C.S. Kamalapati, an excellent teacher. Father Lawrence Sundaram at St. Joseph's College. Bhanumurthy, all these great people, Dr. Nair, all these people were there. They used to teach us excellent. Their English was better than, what should I say, Anna. It was an excellent elixir to every one of us. So I request all the participants and follow the program very carefully, whether it runs for 2 hours or 1.5 hours or whatever it is. Go through the program very well, learn as much as you can. And we are very happy that all of you have joined this program. And once again, I want to thank Bharatiyar University. I want to congratulate all the participants. I want to congratulate our head of the department, all other faculty of English department. A special thanks to all the participants. I wish the program success. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Once again, my best wishes to all the participants. Thank you so much.
We thank you, sir, for the motivating speech. Teachers affect eternity. No one can tell when their influence stops. Now, I would like to invite such an influential personality, Dr. R. Venila Nancy Christina, Associate Professor, Sri Saraswati Tyagaraja College, to give a brief introduction to our chief guest, Dr. P. Nagarajan, sir. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Mrs. Banu, for introducing me. And it gives me immense pleasure to introduce the resource person of the day. A right person in the right place enhances the magnanimity of the art. And today, I believe that we have got the right person to begin our 6-day faculty development program on professional English and communicative English. My acquaintance with Dr. Nagarajan sir, I do not know whether he remember me, but when communicative English and professional English was introduced by the government, I called Dr. Nagarajan sir, and he was much humble enough. He helped me immediately, and whatever we are doing currently at STC, it is all because of his guidance. And I also thank Dr. Anandi ma'am for giving us this opportunity. To talk about Dr. Nagarajan sir's achievement, he's associate professor and head department of English and foreign languages, Bharatiyar University. And as on date, he has produced 32 MPhil scholars and 30 PhD scholars. He has also authored many books, to name a few, like Reciprocal Teaching of Reading, a Reading Intervention Technology, Reading Basics, a Companion to Enhance. And he has also published many articles in peer-reviewed journals, in national and international journals, in UGC, Careless journals, and Scopus Index journals. And thank you, Nagarajan sir. I don't want to take much of your time. I feel much honored and humble in welcoming you. The session is yours, sir. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. A good education can change anyone. A good teacher can change everything. Sir, you don't just teach, you inspire us. With these words, I now invite our chief guest, Dr. P. Nagarajan sir, Associate Professor and Head, Department of English and Foreign Languages, to present the inaugural address and to start this today's session on reading comprehension and instruction strategies. We welcome you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Okay. So, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy in inaugurating this 6-day faculty development program on professional English and communicative English. At this instance, I wish to acknowledge all the faculty members who had given their willingness as a resource person for other days to come, for all the other days to come. And at the same time, and I acknowledge and wish all the faculty members of the department and the THYAGARAJA College, POLLAChi. And when I was listening to Professor Padmanabhan sir, I was reminded of my own days of St. Joseph's. We all feel proud to when I was hearing to Professor Nabhan sir, like the dean, I was reminded of my own days where we were being enriched by Professor Lawrence and so on and so forth. So we all know for sure, like this program, faculty development program, is been organized in collaboration with the Department of English and Foreign Languages, Bharatiyar University, and the Department of English, THYAGARAJA College, POLLACI. So I don't have to go in for an appreciation for the faculty members who had been part of this program in the outcome of this faculty development program. Then just an acknowledgement of all, all the faculty members who had been involved in the program. The head of the department to a larger audience. Now I'm taken aback when a professor had stated it is 1,000 and odd plus and faculty members. Hello, yeah. So faculty members in and around our nation, as well as from across globe, are a part of this particular faculty development program. So we as a resource personalities hold a lot of relevance, and we are, I think, damn committed. When we are addressing a huge, larger number of audience of this nature, it is to some extent a challenging job for the resource personalities as well. And I hope that I will be doing justice with the job I have been assigned. And we all know for sure, the professional English and the communicative competency, it's been the much spoken ideology, a much spoken idea. This pandemic quality, there are, we had encountered few revolutionary changes because of the intervention of this virus. In there, I don't know about the changes that has happened in the other industry, but then with the academics, it has brought in us major changes. I think in few areas, it has brought in revolutionary changes, I would say, in a sense. The major focus, much has been spoken in the higher education system on the new education policy, where the introduction of 4.0 and 5.0 scale of measures in the academic curriculum, where 40% of the content, is being it ought to be in the technological driven fashion. So this is one of the major changes, where we have come out with the blend culture, and where the importance of technology is also being given a prominence equal to the content. So one is there's the changes that has come out in the syllabus, and with reference to again, so much huge vocabulary had been creeped into in the pandemic context, and it is developing. It has already enhanced the society in a very larger perspective. Take for example, socially distancing learning. Earlier, when we think about the brick class institutions, thinking about socially distancing learning, this is something which we had never ever dreamt about 6 months back. Now this culture of socially distancing learning, remote learning, and self-isolation learning and work from home learning. All these are some of the new vocabulary had come into the educational framework, and not just creeping in, but then it holds a lot of relevance. It holds a lot of significance in the minds of the academics, and many of the educational institutions, all the brick institutions have become are institutions, and where the n number of hours and the energy and time is being spent in the technology more than the content. This is one fact that we all have to accept and agree to. It's been in big practice, and this is something advantage for faculty of members. It's going to prove so much of advantages as far as our discipline is concerned. And beyond all this, we should not forget the fact that there are few challenges, and I do have heard about a few of the faculty members saying, like, I do not know how to handle this particular content for today's class. The behavior of the students is concerned, like, again, a challenge with the faculty members, stating that, no, how am I gonna monitor the classroom of the today's nature? So there are a number of challenges among the content, monitoring instructional practices, as well as monitoring students. And I have to say, because I'm not a part of the faculty of the academics, my heart goes to all the faculty members, who do have a huge cry on all these monitoring systems. Like, whenever we wish and we wanted to deliver, and we know there is a lot of restriction from the point of view of the listener, a lot of restriction from the point of view of the presenter as well, because purely for the fact that how the presentation goes is all or muted presentation. We see to that. We on many stands, even now see 1,000 and odd people are spectators are visible, but then muted video wise and audio, and this is what the culture we rely on. Like, so there are sessions happening in a larger way by muting, and we are not aware of the fact being dealt with. Then there are sessions only purely for the attendance, and these are some of the issues that this online teaching and comes out with. So there are challenges, and we have to accept the truth that we are slowly into the practice and adjusting to the need requirement of how the globes are, how the really academics or other society goes in. So, but then of the other fact is that we literally miss the brick learning experience of how we socialize ourselves in language, particularly in language literature classroom. When I say socially learning intelligence, we had the experience of the emotional understanding to the content that is being delivered, the multiple perspectives by which a particular content or a particular ideology is being discussed and debated on in a very big way. So all this, the emotional content and this the collaboration learning and coming together learning, all that has been totally missed out in the technologically driven learning. And this is one thing which we have to accept and agree to. So based on this, I think my intervention today, my perspectives will be damn traditional, but I think those notions or those understanding, if you are incorporating into the traditional classroom, the modern classroom, I think, it will be a viable approach by which, we can put into practice this technological driven understanding. So with this process, I welcome all the faculty members who know are registered. I appreciate and congratulate the effort taken by the head of department, Dr. Das, and his colleagues, all the colleagues from the Tyagaraja College and my own department faculty members as well. So with this note, my inaugural ends over here, and I go with the what I wanted to present today to the learners on the perspectives, which I wanted to share today. As rightly pointed out by Professor Padmanabhan sir, the dean of your college, some of the areas that are very gray, and where I felt, even all the other faculty members, we do all have the realization that, of few challenges, a beautiful art of reading, the art of reading. It is slowly out of the way of both the teacher and the learner. It's hardest to the hard agree to. So my will be on revolving around purposes and special purposes, how there's mm, today we are dealing with this English for specific and special purposes, like the professional English, and some of the strategies provision, it was well received from the teacher and the learner, and I'll be touching upon all those with statistical reports and survey understanding. And I also will be dealing on some of the theoretical perspectives, and particularly a perspective, a theory. I think, even if it is in the 80s, I think, it will be quite relevant in the modern context, because all the thought process, we need it for today's context. It is rightly present. It is relevant there in the perspective, which I'm going to discuss today. So, a theory, though of a traditional nature, I will be trying and see to that, it will be the ideology present are relevant today for improving reading skills and so on and so forth. So this is what the tentative rough work of my presentation: the reading, importance of reading, the reading problem, and the process and the progress by which you can improve on the reading skills. Some few strategies and one theoretical. There are a number of theoretical perspectives available in today's context with reference to enhancement of reading skills. Topic today will be something distinct to the all the available reading theoretical perspectives. So I start with with one of the understanding claimed by the Francis Kepler in 1994, where he had dealt about the importance of reading on different perspectives, particularly from the point of view of the academic to the point of view of life. Reading for the academic, and when it is not been done, when it has not been dealt proper, how far it is gonna reflect in life. So let me quote the words of the Francis Kepler. Every examination of the problems of our schools, every question raised by the troubled parents about our schools, and every learning disorder seems to show some association with reading disability. So if you are not a good reader, now how far from different angles the problem do exist, and it is going to persist. Not only it does exist, it is going to persist for long time. And as we all know for sure, reading is the only time no machine that can recreate the past and open vistas for the future. So reading is one of the, like I tell you, a beautiful art, like where it bridges the three time framework: the past, the present, and the future. Now coming to the problem statement, if not a good reader, how all it gets reflected on even in your personality as well. So any problem
Sir, good evening. Your voice is not audible, sir.
Excuse me, sir, your voice is
between
not
the parent
clear.
and the teacher.
Sir, we are
I
not
request
audible
the
to you.
participants. I request the participants to mute your call. Dr. Nagarajan, sir, your voice is not audible. Dr. Nagarajan,
Sorry
sir,
for bothering, sir.
I request all the participants to mute your call.
Everyone has muted, ma'am. I think
Might be sir is facing some network issues.
network issues. Okay, he is making
He'll get
corrections, I
back.
think, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir. Yes. Dear participants, you please wait. Sir is coming now. You please wait.
Video on பண்ணலாம். Yeah, one can say, am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir. You're audible, sir.
Yes, sir. Now you are audible. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We have to, like, to some extent, like, it happens in the technology world. Yeah, others can unmute, and if you can't come, like, come on online visually, but unmute your voice file, please. So what I wish to say here is, I go with the thought process of Francis Kepler, like, that if not a reader, so what happens, there will be a failure in all aspects of and walk of life. So examination, getting a very less mark in examination, problem with the administration, problem with the parents. No, so I would largely, I would say, like, to exist in society as a humankind, like, I tell you, like, it's gonna be so much so challenging that if you are not gonna be a good reader, at least from here on days to come. So this is one of the observation from the point of view of Francis Kepler in the year 2001, and it's been reflected even now. We all know for sure the reading habits are going, in a declining way in many ways, because of our orientation with different other understanding to life. Okay, next I go with the assessment, the national assessment of the educational program. On the reading assessment, you read for fun. See, we have like, something like, doing reading for pleasure and doing reading for fun, has a long correlation with the academic reading. So the assessment, this assessment is purely for, like, to assess on the reading habits, the reading practices, and the reading skills of the students. So it is found out, like, you see for the graph, you see in the graph that there is a major decrease in the reading habits, particularly with reference to reading for pleasure. There is decline from 40% to 16%. So these are all some of the statistical report is not scientifically been evaluated, and they come out a statement, and we have to see to that why these reading habits, going down way in the modern context. Take for example reading. The questions are, how far and when you do a reading every day. How many hours you spend on reading? If not a day, in a week, how many hours you spend on reading? If not in a week, in a month, twice, or you don't read at all. So the reading report card clearly says that there is a constant decline in the reading habits and practices among the learners of all age groups. No, this assessment is made on the all age groups, and I don't think, if we take the assessment on for the faculty members, the same would have been the report. And whenever we think about, whenever I said, like, the reading habits, this reading for is directly correlated to elements, particularly with representing to the text. What are all the benefits that we enjoy by reading a book for pleasure? We know for sure when we read for pleasure, the text plays the role of the companionship. The text entertains when you do for pleasure, because pleasure reading is done by the reader. Sorry, hello. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, now again there's a call stating that no, I have to unmute the video file, and so that no, I'll be audible. I don't know why. Am I audible right now, madam?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir. Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Even with the video file?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
We
sir.
can see you.
But I received a call stating that I have to unmute the video.
Sir, you're audible.
Okay,
Your slides are audible, sir.
For
You're audible
quite
and
few.
we can see your slides, sir.
Okay,
Sir,
for
actually,
quite few stands, let me be unmuting my.
Yes, sir. Technically speaking, sir,
Okay.
if you close your audio, video, your voice can reach everyone, sir. That is why you're told, sir.
Now
Sir.
you are
Okay, no
audible,
problem,
clear,
no problem, no problem.
Now we are clear, sir. Now we are clear.
Okay,
Your
okay,
voice
no
is clear,
problem.
sir. Yes, sir. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
So, whenever we talk about reading for pleasure involves a text that gives you, and reading for pleasure entertains you. And if you want to escape from the normalcy of work of life, it helps you in escaping you from the normalcy work of life. And how reading helps you in the cognitive process, and how it helps you narrate a new way of life, a new creative thought process, and how it helps you in the emotional stimulation, and how it helps you in the empathetic part of it. So these are all some of the interdisciplinary and the interrelated skills that we were experiencing by way of reading for pleasure. The content of reading for pleasure gives you all these experience of companionship, entertainment, escapism, cognitive development. So so much it happens, or so much is the experience that when we do reading for pleasure, and this way of escaping or the intellectual building and cognition development, it is directly some way or the other, in the longer run, it is gonna help contribute to the academic reading as well. So it is sad to note that by the statistical representation made by the assessment board, that the reading is on the decline. This is a very serious thought process, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to have attitude trends with respect to reading, and how what reading has to do with the age. It is stated that the attitude towards reading tends to get worsened with the age. So now you have to see here, the point of focus is the correlation between reading and the age. What reading has to do with the age. So in this sense, now I would bifurcate into two spheres. The two spheres are how reading was done traditionally and how reading is happening in the postmodern context. When I say reading is how reading was, was a beautiful promotional activity in the traditional context, and how it is not so in the modern context, correlating with the age. I give an example of my own postgraduate days, and how my grandfather happened to help me in providing the current affairs by the end of the day. So whenever I just like to share my experience, whenever I start to for my college, I would see my grandfather used to sit in an easy chair with 5-6 newspapers and magazines. And when I come back evening, he'll be the same, reading some newspapers and magazines. And I always had a wonder, what was he doing from morning till and when I sit with him, he would share his knowledge of what and all he had read, and by that time I would have learned that he would have skimmed the reading, he would have scanned the text, he would have dealt with letter about it has been dealt by my grandfather, and end of the day when I reach him, he would be promoting all the information that he had gathered using all the skills possible that we are talking about. It was in practice earlier days, and he was a university of knowledge by the end of the day. So age after retirement, the reading habits and practices have literally doubled, and they were the source of information providers for the younger generation of learners. But what happens today, I see in my neighbors, like, the age-old parents, like, after their retirement, they never ever do have a free time to read and have such much of an energy from morning till evening and share their resource to their wards, because of the fact that I could see that the husband goes to work, the wife goes to work, and the children will be on their own realm, and he will be given all the tasks of the domestic, and where, in spite of all the competency with reference to reading, does do have, like, with them, he was not given an opportunity, or he is not given an opportunity to read and share his resources to the younger generations of learners. So this is the difference. So why it gets worsened as you grow. The materialistic society do not give an opportunity for the age-old people to read and share their resource to the younger generations of learners. So this is what is prevailing in the materialistic society. Like, we don't get, like, academically improved or socially being improved by way of the knowledge resource sharing. But in earlier cases, in traditional atmosphere, naturally we all had the experience of shared experience from our elders. So this is one thing I would like to highlight over here, like, the fact, the attitude towards reading and the age. So that also, again, it's a problematic. So whatever I present right now is the problems related to reading. Now see this graph. This graph represents the comprehension level of students, the expected level of comprehension, and the actual level of comprehension. And I am of the a strong belief that 100% comprehension is not at all possible. But then, at least 90% of the comprehension is the expected score as far as any reading comprehension is concerned. So I would like to work on the vocabulary on what is comprehension, what is reading comprehension, and how to comprehend the text, and how to comprehend the text of life. But then I'm not going into the nuances of what is comprehension, or what is reading comprehension, or what is comprehending the text, or what is comprehending the life. But many of the research studies today comes out with the statement that for you to speak about comprehension, but we take this vocabulary comprehension in a very light sense. But many of the research studies proves that reading requires a higher order thinking skills, when I say higher order thinking skills, the metacognitive strategies. And there are so many other factors that contribute to the lack of comprehension. Again, I'm not gonna go detail on what are all that contributes for the lack of comprehension. But then I would like to broadly represent two major problems that contribute to the lack of comprehension. Yeah. So the two major problems with respect to the comprehension is that one is from the teacher side and the other from the learner's perspective. When I say teachers, the pedagogical understanding, the instructional procedures, I think it is to some extent lagging in the modern context. And the second thing, reading is always been associated to the assessments. Reading has always been associated to the assessment, where the comprehension, the passage, we give a passage and it's been tested. So reading is always been associated to the assessment. It should not be the way out. But in practice, in academics, we associate reading comprehension to the assessment, and there is we all the faculty members, I think would agree to the standpoint that the instructional or the pedagogies, internet is unstable. So the pedagogies involved in reading is not appropriate or not relevant in the current context, or might be the faculties might be not interested in, and so on and so forth. And the other side, comprehension means only testing, evaluation, and assessment happens. So this has to be brought in a focus, and we have to work on all these possibilities. So high time that we have to see to that we bring in a relationship between the text, reader, and the instructor, so that we will be coming away from all the problems that is being stressed out by the academics by way of research. Now, coming to the magic number, we all know for sure, for exploring the reading habits in the fullest way possible, vocabulary is very, very essential. So how and what way by which we can improve on the vocabulary? Take for example a magic number of 1 lakh words read per year. For a learner who reads 15 to 200 words per minute, reading 20 minutes per day will yield to 1,000 words read in a year. And if you are reading 1 lakh words in a year, what will be the anticipated vocabulary growth? The anticipated vocabulary growth will be 1,000 to 4,000. So you have to understand that how much the amount of textbook has to be read, so that there will be an improvement in the vocabulary as well. So one thing I would like to highlight here or stress here is that to improve on the vocabulary, learners and instructors have to get yourself self-motivated and see to that by formulating an ideology, either that was put into practice or formulate your own ideology, that should be habitual. So you see to that whenever you promote an ideology, that ideology has to be made habitual, so that the the number of reaching the vocabulary and reading improvement happens in a larger sense. So increasing vocabulary, and by way of increasing vocabulary, the comprehension level of or appreciating or understanding any text will be possible in a larger stance. And now I bring in a few of the strategies by which reading enhancement can be worked out with. The bottom-up approach theory, and this is for the readers of the beginning level of reading, the fundamentals of reading, or those who are into the foundation of reading habits and practices. You can adopt to this bottom-up processing of reading, where the importance is being stressed on from letters to letters clusters, words, phrases, sentences, and to a longer sentences. So we all knew for sure that for the beginner learners, this is the way and mechanism by which your approach to reading would help you. So when I say bottom-up processing of learning, I also would like to bring to your notice your understanding that reading simple short sentences is more challenging than reading compound and complex sentences. So we all have to have an awareness, as because of the fact that it's one for this application is for the beginners, beginner readers. Don't take it for granted. When you give a prominence to letters and to words and to phrases and to sentences in a simpler form, I tell you, the simpler form is going to be challenging than the compound and complex form. So bottom-up approach for the beginner readers, top-down processing statistics strategies. This is for adult readers. So what you do here in the top-down processing of reading, the reader generates meaning by employing background knowledge, where he will be having some expectations from the text, and he will be assuming and probably raising more number of questions conforming to his expectations. So no, he will be having a thought process and he will be expecting something from the text. So all this will be worked out with all the knowledge and resources he had down the ages, and will be collaborating with all the experiences he had with the text, and see to that and sees to that he is gaining momentum in the reading comprehension. So this top-down processing of reading involves some of the pre-reading activities like activating schema, previewing, then predicting, and bringing all the background knowledges. When I say background knowledges, no, we have to bring in all the variables that is possible. The variables are the cultural knowledge, the linguistic knowledge, the syntactic knowledge, the historical knowledge. So all these variables accounts for an overall understanding of the text. So I'm not going in to details of how you have to incorporate the cultural knowledge or linguistic knowledge or syntactic knowledge or historical knowledge, wherein like these are all the essential the factors that when you say that you are moved to the second level of learning, and when you are applying this top-down processing of learning, all these background informations will play a major role in better understanding and appreciating any reading form of activities is concerned. So this is with reference to the top-down processing of reading is concerned. And next I go to the reading habits, that is the need of the hour, where the culture of both the bottom up and top down or has to be incorporated, where the reader uses both the bottom up and top down strategies parallelly, simultaneously, or alternatively to comprehend the text. And the interactive approach is the need of the hour, where the teacher or the reader uses top-down strategies until he or she encounters an unfamiliar word, then employs decoding skills to enhance or achieve comprehension. So, what is special about this interactive approach is that this is a framework for analyzing reading difficulty. So this is the first time, in all the probable strategies that is being worked out with enhancing reading possibilities, like, this interactive approach is a framework of thought where the importance is given in analyzing the reading difficulties, the reading challenges the individual faces in reading, and how to overcome the challenges that one encounters in reading. Interactive reading is otherwise being called by the academicians as remedial reading. When I say remedial reading is for both the teacher and the students. But unfortunate today, in today's context, remediation or remedial reading or remedial classes, it has been one-sided, where the teacher has not been given an opportunity for remediating himself or herself. Rather, the focus is purely on the learners. So this is one thing, when I say remediation, the remediation has to happen both for the teacher and the student in any problem understanding. But what happens here is remediation happens only partly, and one particular part, the teacher is being totally been kept aside. And I think this is not a fair deal. Like when we talk about the problem related to reading challenges, reading difficulties, and reading encounters. So both the population, both the teacher and the student, has to be given prominence, has to be given due weightage, and try to understand what the teacher problem, what the teacher phases in comprehending a text, or comprehending the student community, or either way around, like if there is a challenges by the teacher when he or she represents any form of audience, the challenges has to be put forth for clarification and for further understanding. So that way, by debating the issues, I think but by this way of analysis, this interactive approach to reading may be possible, and it is gone, and only by this way the remediation is made in a very clear way. Or else our focus right now is entirely one-sided, and this one-sided approach to the interactive or this interpretative understanding will never work out in enhancing reading competency. There are two elements in reading closely associated to. When I talk about two elements in reading speed and comprehension, I just read it out. In an efficient, if you want to be an efficient reader, or efficiency in reading means faster reading and higher comprehension. And speed and comprehension are closely related. So the two elements, how far speed reading and comprehension goes hand in hand. Improved comprehension makes the reading fast, a faster reading, and rapid reading aids to faster comprehension. So we all live in a context of quantifying data. I would substantiate my argument how far reading speed is associated to reading comprehension by the next slide, by the table. There are n number of accountability data is being expected by using the formula stated by Venkata Iyer. Venkata Iyer in the year 1986 evolved the formula to arrive at the speed reading coefficient of the subjects. The formula is simple. Number of words, time taken by the reader into 60 works out, you get the red data, you get the data of, your reading speed and, your comprehension level. And the reading speed and comprehension level, the data time, the table spreadsheet is being given based on Venkata Iyer's understanding. If you are a poor reader, 90 to 125 word per minute, and the comprehension level is 80 to 90%. And if you are a good reader, you will read around 200 to 300 word per minute and 80 to 90% the comprehension in study reading. And if you are an average reader, you will be doing a reading of 150 to 180 word per minute, where the comprehension level is only 70%. And in the good reading, 200 to 500 words per minute, where the comprehension level is 70% again. But in skimming, you cannot skim, and the word per minute is 800, and you cannot skim here, and the comprehension is just 50%. I think 50% is below average. So as I said, we live in an era of quantifying, and this is the right time, and I think you can adopt this formula, and you can try and see to that how far your comprehension level is, and you can by this formula you can try and work out a text and see to that at what level you are, whether you are an average reader or you're slow reader, and your comprehension level is less or more, like by having this formula. And if you are working it out thoroughly with the formula and having a text, I think your level, and you can find a mechanism by which you can improve on. Now coming to the theoretical perspectives which I wanted to highlight today. So some of the strategies till now I worked out are the different representations, the problem statement with reference to the reading habits and practices that is in practice today. So what are the methods and approaches or techniques by which you can improve reading in the current context? As far as reading is concerned, ladies and gentlemen, and you all know, you're all aware of the fact that there are n number of theoretical perspectives available. The ideologies are n number, huge. The theoretical perspectives on reading I just highlight few. The Jigsaw reading approach to enhance reading, metacognition and reading, cooperative reading is there, socializing reading is there, reading for academic and reading for non-academic purposes there. But I wish to work out a theoretical perspective that incorporates almost all the elements of from the other ideologies representations. I would cite this as it as a new vitamin for reading comprehension. So the ideology which I am going to promote today is something, incorporates all the notions, the majority of the notions being proposed by the proponents of the other theoreticians. And here is where I wish to share with you guys. Again, I say, though the ideology is of 80s, not of a modernistic concept or modernistic ideology, but the narration the proponents had promoted, I think it holds a lot of relevance even in the technologically driven era, where when I stated earlier, like what are all the experience that we had in the brick classroom. If we try to incorporate this particular methodology into the Google Classroom, I think this is going to be working very effective as well. And let me go to the concept and notion of what the proponents wanted to exactly say from the reciprocal teaching of reading. So I do have my own justification to claim why I insist reciprocal teaching of reading in the modern context. In the year 1987, Anne Mary Palansker from the Michigan State University and Anne Brown from the University of Illinois, they found that when they experimented on the urban students of the Highland Park, Michigan, they found that as I had claimed, the reading habits, the reading practices, the instructional procedures adopted in reading enhancement of the students, and the difficulties. So all these problem statements, had been the prevailing condition when these two proponents came forward with an ideology of reciprocal instruction, and they had promoted the concept, what they wanted to promote to the learners, and it was a big achievement. I think they had worked out on experimental research with the urban students of the Highland Michigan Park, and there are n number of action research and surveys research has been conducted with reference representing the reciprocal teaching of reading across globe. And why I had taken is that already there is an evidential fact from the result published in the UNESCO, the International Bureau of Educational Innodata Monarch in the year 2002, where the claim was it was a very effective technique to improve reading comprehension. Again, to substantiate my argument of why I say reciprocal teaching, RT, for reading enhancement, the University of Washington posts a reciprocal teaching homepage that reviews the research and concludes that the technique is effective. In fact, an internet search to locate reciprocal teaching resource received 122,000 sites as on date. So this data clearly proves that this reciprocal teaching, RT, is really an improved strategy that had been worked out on different levels and under the different parameters. And if now today, if you go and Google search, you will come to a clear understanding that much of the researchers had worked on this theoretical perspectives at different levels, at different disciplines across globe, all over the globe, at different disciplines and the different population and different study had been conducted using the reciprocal teaching of reading. And this justification, and these are for all the reasons I thought for the audience of the learning and the teaching faculty that if we are strictly adopting to some extent or to a larger extent, if we strictly adopt to the methodology, the ideology promoted by the Palansker, I think the teacher as an instructional practice and students as well, I think they're gonna benefit in a larger way around. So I just put it off across exactly the words stated by the author himself. So what do they say when they say reciprocal reading? So from the word of mouth of the author, I just cite and I just quote: reciprocal teaching refers to an instructional activities that takes place in the form of a dialogue between the teacher and the student regarding segment of a text. Again, I read it: an instructional activity that takes place in the form of a dialogue between the teacher and the student regarding the segment of a text. And the dialogue is structured by using 4 strategies, that is predicting, summarizing, question generating, and clarifying. The teacher and the students take turns assuming the role of teacher. The teacher becomes student and student become teacher. They're taking turns in leading this dialogue. The purpose of the reciprocal teaching is to facilitate a group effort between teacher and students, as well as among students, in the task of bringing meaning to a text. So beautifully being represented by the Palansker, the notion of how comprehension has to happen when you are having a dialoguing with the text, when you are interpreting a text, when you wanted to literally comprehend what the text wanted to convey. So what is the role of a teacher? What is the role of a text? How a teacher and a student has to come together in formulating a better understanding of text or better appreciating the text. So I think this 4 FABs, they call it as 4 FABs: predicting, summarizing, question generating, and clarifying, as very important 4 major steps. If you are involving yourself into, then I think all that has been said in the form of making dialogue with text or making text the self, whatever, by applying these 4 mechanisms, I think we will be reaching out what the theoreticians wanted to. So the first is predicting the possibility, predicting the text, to ponder what may happen. Ladies and gentlemen, here you might have a question: predicting. So whenever we encounter the vocabulary predicting is something to do with the assumptions. Predicting has got to do with the hypothesis. So there is always a probable question that would be generated, or that will be generated by a learning audience. What if the predictions go wrong? What if the predictions are not favoring in accordance to the text has been idealized? But I go with the notion of the ancient seers, like Mastodon's, the importance of predicting, and what we experience today are of this year's predictions, where the world order has to change and give space for the new value added systems. When you do a predicting, a predictor becomes a new man, which with fresh thoughts fresh values, and that's the prediction. The predictions, some of the predictions influences are what if, what I think, what if not, I wonder, I suppose, and so on and so forth. So in a text, prediction is very, very important. And when you do predict, the outcome is what if not, what if I believe, what if I suppose, and what if I wonder. Here, the mantra of the prediction. Honey, என்னாச்சு போயிடுச்சு அப்படி போயிடுச்சு hello
Yes, sir.
Getting me?
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So the mantra of the predictions are, the mantra of the predictions are inability to predict indicates the comprehension will be inadequate. So if you are not a good predictor, there will be a possibility that no comprehension is not possible. Step 2, summarizing. Summing up is possible, but not concluding. In any reading, concluding is not the probability in a larger sense. Only summation is possible. And any reading is a process, is a progress, and not an end in itself. And when you do a summarizing process, look for the key ideas, look for the key vocabularies, look for the key elements, and finalize on the understanding of it. So when I say the key ideas, some of the vocabularies that you have to give importance to are the coordinating conjunctions. Firstly, secondly, thirdly, so on and so forth. Then, therefore, thereafter, consequently, subsequently, and thus. So all these coordinating conjunctions has to be given importance when you do go for summarizing process. Summarizing is to say everything, only to remember what is most needed or what is most important. The next step is questioning. Questioning is a self-test, whether you are generating the right question or the wrong question. Friends, I always insist, whenever you think about generating a questions, we always do have the tendency of raising only the right questions. But I always advocate you have to raise questions to get the right answer. And at times, you have to raise wrong questions to get the right answers. So these are two probabilities that you have to inculcate if you are, or if you wish to generate questions. And the more the questions being generated, the more the understanding, whether it is right question or wrong questions. So the question is to interrogate and to break its power and take over at the same time. So the importance of question is being stressed by the promoters of the RT. The fourth one is the last one, the clarification. Very important. When I talk about clarification, it's a challenging one. It identifies what are all the challenges in the text and it decides on whether to read, whether to reread, or go ahead with the reading process or stop and ask for help. So when I talk about clarification, whether you read or whether you want to read, you have to decide, stop reading or revisit and go for help. In clarification, you will be performing an act of an artist, a performing artist like, where one creates his own possible unique text related performance. So according to one's knowledge, according to one's intelligentsia, or according to one's experience, based on his intervention with the text, he would stop, he would negotiate and ask for clarification and go about with. So clarification is the last strategy. And here is a worksheet, in the Google platform, if you are using technology as a resource and promoting RT for enhancement, reading as an enhancement program, you can work out a worksheet like this and make the whole of the task very simple. The reciprocal reading strategies worksheet. Take for example, representing the name, and where you can give the topic of the reading passage and all the 4 strategies. Reading. So in predicting, before you read or before you begin to read, the selection, look at the main title, the major headings, the subheadings, and the illustration, and write down the predictions about what the passage will almost cover about. So these are something we have to do with the predictions, and you give a space and where students can work out the predicting possibilities. And in summarizing, as you read or as you finish the first reading, each paragraph or the key section of the passage, summarize the main ideas in 1 or 2 sentences. In 1, 2, if needed, you can improve on. If the text comes out with 5 ideas or 6 ideas, then you can come out. And next comes the questioning. For each main idea listed in the summarizing passage, in the summarizing worksheet, write down at least 1 major question and sub-classification of parallel questions using 5 W's and 1 H. When, why, where, what, and how in the questioning worksheet area. And last one, copy down any words, phrases, or sentences in the passage that are unclear, that stops you from comprehending. So I think, this spreadsheet, this worksheet with the passage, any passage for the matter, if you are working on based on this spreadsheet, I think, you will be involving students and promoting reciprocal teaching lesson in the classroom. And when you are practicing RT, how you can group students, the methodology by which you can design a classroom. Small group of children. I said this RT can be used for any level of learners. It can be for the small children, it can be for the adolescent, and it can be used even in the higher education and research. As I already stated earlier, RT had been investigated, RT had been researched at various levels, at various disciplines across globe. So this can be a promotional activity, and you can promote as an instructional practice to any group of learners and any text for the matter. It can be literary text, it can be non-literary text, it can be scientific text, whatever. But this is how you're gonna group the methodology by which you are gonna adopt and grouping students, and what are all the working minds of the teacher and the student is being highlighted here. A small group of children, one people act as a teacher. They lead the group through a structured dialogue. When I say structured dialogue, is nothing but these 4 strategies: predict, summarize, question, generate, and clarify. They lead the group through a structured dialogue, discussing each of the 4 strategies outlined. In turn, in the first stage, the first step, teacher begins by asking group members to make predictions about what they have read. Step 2, teacher reads a small segment of a text to the group or people and read the section and make them read the section on their own. Step 3, teacher facilitates or gives the opportunity for the students to generate questions. Step 4, students formed group, and the group of students are asked by teacher to list the unfamiliar words or the phrases, or to outline sections of the text that are unsure of. Work in group together, and where all clarifications needed, they will be highlighting or taking down in the point of note, as I have said in the worksheet. And the group 5, step 5, teacher asks a people or pupils to summarize the piece of text that has been just read. And step 6, the cycle begins again. People are asked by the teachers to make predictions about the next section of the text before going in for the reading passage. So this is the mode or methodology by which you can formulate the reciprocal teaching of understanding into any population, to any subject, to any discipline. So what does reciprocal teaching offers to a teacher? This is for teacher: a structure for teaching the skills required for enhancing comprehension. So, as I rightly said, as an instructional practices, till now we did not have a structure to promote the reading skills on the habits and practices. But here we have got a structure by which you can introduce and make the students follow. So this is for teacher, a well structure, and it is easy to resource and can be used across curriculum. The multi or the interdisciplinary perspectives of understanding can be got it. So when you are introducing this ideology, this methodology into any text, you don't have to be strictly text related. You can go beyond text, get the experience of others, get the experience of what all you had learned from the by way of your experience, and you can bring in all those experience of exact text and beyond text, and you can promote this ideology. Can be used for the whole class lessons, as a form of a group activity or as an individual act. So it can be a group activity or as well as an individual act might be. You can promote this for this methodology either to a group or to an individual as well. It will be very effective for people of almost all abilities, including the average readers, the low level readers, and the higher level readers as well. And it is a mechanism for assessing comprehension skills and identify the areas where no reading enhancement has to be developed. So the assessment involves problem finding. This reciprocal teaching promotes you with an ideology of remedying it out. As I said earlier, remedying it out, where literally your problem lies, and how to identify the problem and how to go about establishing by way of this guidelines, promoting or better appreciating or knowing about how to get ourselves refined by following the advocates of the proponents. And this can be held as a good example for good practices. This type of a practice, these type of strategies can be applied to any population across the globe. And what was the student response? No, I'm not, again, for want of time, I'm not going in depth regarding how if it is an experimental study, how you can do an experiment with, or if it is an action, if you are applying this theory for an action research, how you can apply on, or if you want to take a study, or if you want to study a problem statement with reference to reading skills and reading performance. I'm not going into depth on all those components because that will again take a larger time. So based on all these promotional activities and based on all the methodologies by which, if you're applying into the context of today's classroom, what will be the response? How was the response of the students? They said they would apply reciprocal teaching in their regular reading sessions beyond or besides recommending to their friends. So once this ideas become part and partial a system within you, then you can go on applying this methodology into any sort of reading is the response from one individual. The reciprocal teaching increases their reading comprehension, their reading speed and vocabulary as well. So I was talking about earlier the correlation between the reading speed and comprehension, and the essential importance of vocabulary acquisition in reading enhancement, the importance of vocabulary in establishing a good reading response. And the other response was they found themselves very happy, independent in the reciprocal reading sessions. It is said that when in one stance, when this reciprocal teaching was introduced as a group effort, as a collaborative effort, as a collective effort, end of the day, slowly the group effort or the group perform can be minimalized to individual act, and that is the beauty of this particular approach to reading enhancement understanding. The student performs the role model either in a large group or in a small groups. It can be worked out with a large group. It can be worked out with a small group. It can be worked out in pairs. and it can be an instruction, or a teacher might become an instructor. So when in a collaborative act, when it is a combined act of understanding and appreciating the text, the teacher becomes the student and student becomes the teacher. And that is the beauty of this particular approach. And what happens finally, you don't have to be too much conscious about these five mechanism I have touched on. You apply it into a context one time, you apply it into the context next time, and finally at one particular point of view, you will experience yourself. This particular four FAMs will become consciously or unconsciously part of your reading habits and practices. So whenever you approach any text for the matter, you would see that you will be applying this modalities knowingly or unknowingly. Now, one sec, please. Just to have a little water, please. So from the point of view of the students, as a self-regulatory mechanism, student practice four basic reading skills. Though the promotives, when they had introduced this component is for reading enhancement, but the methodology by which when we are putting into practice as a group work, what happens is that it is not only the skill of reading gets enhanced, but also the listening, writing, and speaking as well happens. But the beauty of this particular idea is that though the proponents had introduced having a very thought process that this idea is only to help promote reading enhancement, but in the approach, in the methodology, you could see the reflection is has gone beyond reading, and where it helps lot of other skills development as well. When I say other skills development as well, you see the next comes they can test their own ideas, and they can represent with the peers. At the same time, when they are applying this methodology, they can listen, they can speak. They are being permitted to listen, speak, read, write. They participate in interactive modalities using the application of language, getting opinions, statements. To some extent, when there's a text, there will be a probability of agreeing and disagreeing. Sometimes the ideology might be appropriate to the individual, and sometimes it will never be appropriate to the society. So all these are coming into focus. It is not that by the introduction of this RT, by way of my experience, what I had learned when it is being used as an experiment or as an action research statement, what was my observation is that when I introduced this into a classroom, I had seen in my eyes that skills of language capacity had been improved, interpersonal skills had evolved, then intrapersonal skills, like when this RT will become a part of yourself, the intrapersonal skills comes into focus. Group dynamism, where in management studies, they talk about the group dynamism, they talk about supply chain management, all those things. So all those principles are coming into focus. So overall, though the focus was on enhancing the reading competency, but at the end of the day, you see it is giving way to lot of promotional activities like, interpersonal development, intrapersonal development, enhancing speaking comes in, enhancing writing comes in, because, when you have a clarification and, you have to pen down. And if you want to discuss about the clarification, when you want to get clarified, you have to get back to your peers or to the tutors. So all these group mechanism leads to a number of intellectual growth by way of the task, being involved in the ideology promoted by the authors. So not only reading enhanced here, but other skills as well. But then I caution here is that, it all depends upon how the instructor puts into a classroom and how he elucidates information based on the text that has been put forth for discussion, analysis, and interpretations. And the other advantage and benefits of RTE is that, there are people had said that, when it is being reinforced, it reinforces the skills that are basic, fundamental in reading successful, and it provides a forum for integration of communication activities. As I said, like, when you are putting into methodology, into experimental study or as action research, like, where beyond the text, you tend to communicate with your peer groups, and it has got all the potential of, multi-level understanding and cross-disciplinary application as well. Keep a text, and when you promote all this ideology, like, you have to sometimes, have to go beyond text and then have to come back to appreciate the text. So you are forced to bring in all the knowledge and the resources that is prevalent in society, to bring into the classroom and apply them in understanding the text. So the multiple perspectives, the multiple discipline perspectives, multi-level perspectives. So the application of multiple intelligence also comes into focus here. And it is a valuable tool in any language classroom, is the perception given by a larger students. So this is the feedback, thought process from the students and the instructors, who had literally put into practice. Now, a little of the observation before going to the sum up. We know for sure there is a decline in the rate of reading by way of all the statistical analysis and understanding. Reports and surveys all state that, and beyond all this, our conscious, all the faculty members or all of the conscious, and we know for sure that, this materialistic society does not give way, does not pay way for really experiencing the text, how a text ought to be experienced. So we all have a question here. Is lifelong reading really a worthwhile instruction and goal? We know for sure there are a lot of challenges in a materialistic society. In the technologically driven society, how far we are going away from reading. Instructional practices, instructional procedures, and understanding. This machine-like learning, this machine interpretations, this the variables of the emotional content, the emotional content, and all these are missing away in the today's reading instructional practices. So we all have to have a serious question right now, ladies and gentlemen. Time has come that we have to take into consideration some of the good old practices that were traditionally being benefiting larger community of learners for quite a number of eras, has to be brought into today's context and see to that how far it is applicable today. Might be we all have the freedom again even in working out the theoretical perspectives, if some of the ideologies promoted by the instructors, by the proponents, if it is not relevant with the postmodern understanding, with the postmodern perspectives, no, we are all liberalized to give our thought process into any theoretical perspective, because any theory is not an end in itself. Any theory has its own limitations, its own delimitations. So as a instructor of language faculty, we all knew any theoretical perspectives, do have limitations, but it is our job to see to that, keep away the limitations and know what is gonna better our student community, what is gonna better in our instructional practices had to be taken into consideration. Sometimes, you can blend. I don't insist only, you have to use RT in reading instruction classes. If sometimes, your subjects needed a collaborative learning, you can bring in collaborative learning and RT and, work out a mechanism by which, these two theories, the major points can be taken and, you can work out a new ideology. That is possible. The postmodern context gives you that freedom. So you can think in the other way as well. What if, my question again to the instructors and to the faculty members, what if reading were a product to be sold? If our knowledge and resources to be sold, then we have to read. And if we wanted to improve our economy, and if somewhere or the other reading is going to help you, won't we try? So time has come that, we have to take a very serious step on improving instructional procedures, instructional practices to enhance the reading capacity building of the learners. If reading turns as a selling product and reading teachers as a sales force, I think, if this has been the idea, we all would have taken a step earlier itself, and we would have already been into a beautiful, beautifully, we practicing all that is in a big way gonna benefit larger sector of society. Such is the importance of reading. When I say, if not reading, I would say, ladies and gentlemen, our existence in society, it is going to be a big challenge very soon in coming days. Because only reading takes you here, there, and everywhere. It's only because of reading you can travel across globe and you can free yourself to any space. If not a good reader, you know for sure that we will have our own limitations. We will have our own boundaries as well. So if you are a good reader, we all know for sure reading helps you knowing, reading helps you become knowledgeable, and with that as a resource, with that as a backbone, I think we can explore all the global context. Now, to end with, we all will be having a conflict, and we all have to, at one particular point of time, have to come to a resolution that what if we stop reading, and if we stop reading, what will be our plight today in society? So to read or not to read is a big question in that I am putting across to myself and to the larger faculty of members today you were in this particular forum. So I think whatever the information. No, I thought like, by way of my experience and my reading and what is happening in today's society with respect to the faculty, with respect to the student community, the context. I think, the context does not provide you an opportunity for reading. But if we go like this, I think some of the beautiful experiences that we had with the text, the beautiful experience of, the experience that literally we had with the text, I think we gonna lose it out if we do not know, how to treat the text, how to be with the text, how to make the text the self, or in a larger interest, how to make the text that you have read, you gonna make it socially relevant. So all these are possible. All these are possible for you to survive, for you to exist in society. Don't we all think, more than the other skills, reading is important, and reading is gonna play a very major vital role, if not for the other industry, if not for the other audience. I think we have to have a realization. We have to come to a realization. We are all aware of the fact that somewhere something is going wrong, and we are all witnessing, and we are all experiencing as well. But the thing is, when are we going to take an act? When are we going to take a promotional act and come to reality that virtuality is not the reality? Now you have to come to reality, and the claims of today is virtuality is a reality. But time has come that we have to come to reality and experience text as text and read text as text in promoting your intelligence and promoting the intelligence of the larger community of a student as well. With this, I conclude. I thank the members present. I think, a larger community of faculty members from different walk of life are present today. I thank the members for, they had listened to me, though the ideology that I had promoted might look simple, but it is a very costly affair. Being simple, it's always will prove challenge. So I advocate light and see to that that the context, because I'm very sure this context is not going to help you. The context is not giving you an opportunity to enjoy literature as literature, or to enjoy language as language. We the faculty members have to grab the opportunity and say to that, come to conscious and try to inculcate the notions of what is gonna help in bettering ourselves and bettering society. Thank you, and thank you so much. And any observation, any questions,
Yes, Bhavna ma'am, you can speak now. Bhavna ma'am, unmute yours. 1 second, ma'am. 1 second. Unmute your audio. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One second, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, you can speak now. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're audible. Audible. Yes, ma'am. You're audible. You can speak now.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the mind-blowing session, sir. It's highly beneficial and your strategies will be definitely enhanced by each and every one of us. Thank you once again. A well-educated mind will always have more questions than answers. Now, let's move to the interaction session, and discussion forum is open up to all. Participants can text your questions in the chat box and sir will answer to each one of us. For your kind information, the feedback link will also be shared in the chat box. We request you all to fill the same. So, Dasar, will anyone be leading the interaction session?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Vanilla ma'am will read all the questions and sir will
Okay,
answer.
sir.
So,
Sir,
as
as we are running short of time, maybe 4 or 5 questions we can consider and we can proceed, sir.
in between, we are sending a feedback form. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Fine.
Yes, ma'am. In between, we are sending the feedback form in the chat box. All of you,
Okay,
please fill in the form, and in between, sir will be answering your questions. You can text your questions in the chat box.
Dasa, may I read the question? We have a question from one Mr. C.R. Vijayan. May I read the question now?
Yeah, you can read. Yes, ma'am.
The question is, skimming and scanning are the two sub-skills of reading apart from other sub-skills. Are the two sub-skills the sub-skills of listening also?
Yes, madam.
So, I repeat the question.
Yeah.
Skimming and scanning are the two sub-skills of reading apart from other sub-skills. Are the two sub-skills the sub-skills of listening also?
No, madam. No, madam. The sub-skills of skimming and scanning, does not have anything to do with the other aspect of skills. It doesn't have anything to do with the listening.
Thank you, sir.
Because it particularly works with the text. When you do a skimming and scanning, you have to be conscious of enough of what the information you're gonna elicit from. So it is purely an act and an orientation with the reader and the text, nothing beyond. It is a very conscious effort of comprehending what is there in the text.
Thank you, sir. Next question is from
at the basal level and scanning at the intense level.
Thank you, sir. Next question is from Alfonso Mary. How can we use reciprocal methods of teaching comprehension in the present scenario? How can we use reciprocal methods of teaching comprehension in the present scenario?
That is where, in my presentation, I suppose I had worked out the model, that the stage-wise the model, 1 to 6 stages, and I had also shown you the worksheet. So by introducing technology, like any platform of this nature, you work out the mechanism like a worksheet, and all the activities I was talking about, like the group activities, grouping, all I think the technological driven context does promote. So what are all the practices? This RT helps you, like what are all the practice that you were putting into practice in the 4 walls. The same practice you can take it to the online class as well. So that is where I said RT is a good approach for the blend culture. You can use extensively for the classroom 4 wall as well as in the online context. So it promotes the blend culture.
Thank you, sir. We have another question from Meena Kuti, which seems to be a very much important question. For an expert in reading, it seems to be much difficult to comprehend the passages given in UGC NET or SET exams. Kindly share your views, sir. Even an expert in reading finds it much difficult to comprehend the passages of net and set examination. And she is
Net
seeking
and
your
set
help, sir.
examination.
Yes,
Might
sir.
be the questions that has been posed by the content would have been challenging, because it is a competitive examination. So for sure the text ought to be challenging, and the questions that represent the text will be challenging as well. So that is where I take a balanced stand, stating that 100% comprehension is not at all possible. And in particular with the postmodern context, where you are given an opportunity to come out with multiple interpretations. I think comprehending from a singular perspective, it's going to be challenging. And to the question that he had raised with next examination, I think whenever it is when it comes to the matter of any examination, group service examination or competitive examination service examination, the context, the content will be challenging, and similar way the questions. Simple as such.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We have a question from Dr. Ruth P. Johnny. Which is better, reading for instruction or reading for delight?
Reading for instruction
or reading for delight?
See, I tell you, as I said, reading for a pleasure. When you begin as a beginning reader, you begin for pleasure reading, and finally, where it will end up? It will end up in academic reading. So the thing is, you have to begin in some way or the other the reading habits, and finally, you would see that what are all the experience that you had as a beginning reader, beginning level reader, you can incorporate all those understanding into any reading habits and practices. So pleasure reading, joy reading is directly associated to any academic reading as well.
Thank you, sir. We have a question from Dr. Rajkumaran. What kind of reading strategies one could apply to school children?
Even there are a number of as I said in my presentation, there is no limits. N number of theoretical perspectives with reference to reading capacity building has been promoted. But the challenge is all the ideas and representations are all from the Westerners. This is my observation. Take for example, either it is constructivist reading, or community reading, or collaborative reading, or task-based reading. So there are n number of theoretical perspectives in English language teaching, where you can introduce those theoretical perspectives into enhancing reading capacities. I think if you take RT, this RT was first being used in the Highland Parks. I said, when I introduced to the promoters of this RT, first they had tested only with the kindergarten student, kindergarten children in the Highland Parks, then at the next level, then at the other level. So you can think about a theoretical perspective that works with the different age groups and different disciplines. And as I said, every theory will have limitations. All theory will never work for all age group, for all populations. You have to identify at what which idea and at what level of and what these ideas and for what level of students you can incorporate. So in that way, I would advocate an amalgamation of theoretical perspectives. Take for example, in one theory, the idea promoted will be relevant to school children or to the kindergarten children, and many other perspectives may not fit into the kindergarten children. So avoid. So in the theory in itself, you can delimit and limit the perspectives and take what is relevant to the your subject of level of students, and then you can promote.
So next question is from Mr. Anil Patel. How can a learner master speaking English during this time which has isolated people?
Speaking English
During this time which has isolated people.
during, that is where the challenge, madam, to the gentleman who had posed a question. Now people talk about, machine intervention and language learning. So there are so many things happening in the reality today, where even in dialoguing, we don't rely on the human intelligence much. If you take a survey of your own self, the communication that you have with the uh, machine is large or empowered than the communication you have with the human intelligence. So in the pandemic context, I don't totally keep away that you don't have to use or you should not negotiate with the technological components, but see for how far by introduction, by way of some few platforms, there are few platforms which promotes, which helps you, which guides you in working out with the language. You can explore, and there are softwares as well, and there are a number of organizations promoting free language training programs, certificate programs. That also can be explored in the current context. But then, as I said, when you interact with the machine, there are challenges, and when you interact with the human intelligence, that is where we know for sure that the language comes into the fullest learning possibilities. But in the pandemic context, the reality is everyone are disadvantaged. The faculty member is disadvantaged. The student are disadvantaged because the time and the energy that we spend, it's all online. The context restrains the student and teacher coming together, and that is the limitation that we have to accept and agree to. And in spite of all the limitations, take the hardest reality, and there are people exploring by way of organizations, by way of platforms, providing you, enriching you with language learning experience, that you can explore.
So, many questions are asked, sir, but you've given the answers for all the questions. Participants, any more questions? So I have a question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
As teachers, English teachers, we find it much difficult to handle students from rural background. In the first year class, we first teach them right from alphabets and then we move on. So we find it very much difficult. Is bilingual method of handling English classes okay? Any language classes okay, sir? Bilingual handling.
No, that is both positive aspect as well as the negative aspect of bilingual, introducing bilingualism into language teaching instruction. There are a few academicians say, I say it from the academic point of view, academicians point of view. There are few academicians say that no, there is nothing wrong in introducing the vernacular, the local language into the foreign language system. When the foreign language is proving challenge, you can always rope in the local language, get the experience, and you can understand. This is one school of thought. The other school of thought is that if you go on compromising with the local school, then where is the time? You will be compromising with local school only, and when you will never understand or appreciate the language as language. A foreign language is foreign language. So these are the two stands of understanding from the academicians. You can compromise, but to what extent is the question. But
thank you.
Yeah, this is what, you can compromise to what extent, that it depends upon the level of the learners. You have to.
Thank you, sir. We have got last question from Dr. Deepak Shinde. Sorry, sir, from JV Sunita. What is the difference between flipping class and reciprocal teaching?
Yes, madam. Which one?
What is the difference between flipping class and reciprocal teaching?
What class? Shifting class.
Flipping class.
Flipped classroom.
Yeah, that's a question.
There are almost major similarities when I talk about the flipped classroom. Flipped classroom is nothing but bridging the four-wall classroom and going beyond the four-wall classroom, and you are totally into the online classroom. But RT experience, originally the intention of this program was for the four-wall classroom. But as days goes by, many of the investigators, many of the researchers felt that the components that is in the RT also helps promote online class as well. So the RT helps in bridging both the offline and the online classes, the modalities that helps both. But the flipped classroom is, it has nothing to do with the four-wall classroom. You will be always on the cloud. So this is the distinction. Like in a flipped classroom, you will never be into the reality of the classroom, always on the air. But RT promotes both the culture of the four-wall culture and the online culture, the virtual and the real. But the flipped classroom is the virtual, simple as such.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for patiently answering the question, sir. Banu? Mrs. Banu, you may present the session.
Banu ma'am, you can open your mic. Ma'am, now you can open.
Yes, sir. Actually, the host should unmute for everyone. Otherwise, it's
Yes,
difficult for me from my side.
Yes.
Sir, thank you so much for your instant answers to the questions put forth by our participants. Now let us come to the closing session. No duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. Now I would like to invite Mr. C. Senthil Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of English, SREE SARASWATI THYAGARAJA College, to present the vote of thanks.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Hello.
Sir, you're audible, sir. You please speak
Hello.
now. Sir, you're audible. You
Yeah.
please speak
Good
now.
evening, everyone. Okay, right. Thank you, sir. I convey my sincere thanks to the Honorable Chief Guest, Dean, Head of the Department, dear colleagues, and participants. Once a great man whispered, feeling thankfulness, not expressing it, is like unwrapping present and not to giving it. Today, I thank the opportunity to put all my gratitude into words. On behalf of SREE SARASWATI THYAGARAJA College and all the faculty members of the Department of English, I thank our chief guest and resource person, Dr. P. Nagaraj, Head of the Department of English and Foreign Languages, Bharda University, Coimbatore, for taking his precious time and consenting to be the chief guest today. Sir, indeed, your words and ideas regarding how to read comprehension and how to teach comprehensive passage have inspired the participants. We are really enlightened with your knowledge. We will ever remain grateful to you, and we thank you for being with us today. I thank our respected Dean or Batmanabhan sir, who graced us with his guidance on how to acquire knowledge by the habit of reading. Thank you, sir. I thank Dr. R. Venla Nancy Christiana, Associate Professor, Department of English, for having introduced the chief guest. An event of any dimension cannot happen overnight. I express my profound gratitude to our HOD, Dr. J. Das, for having organized this 6-day FDP. Thank you, sir. I convey my heartfelt thanks to all the participants in and around the state and globe. Once again, I thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay,
Bond ma'am,
Das.
you can speak. Yes. Yes, sir. Bond
Shall
ma'am,
we
you
wind
can
up?
speak. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 1 second, sir. Bond ma'am will tell and we can move, sir. Ma'am, you can speak now, ma'am. You can speak.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible. You
Yes.
please speak now.
So thank you, Shekhar sir, for presenting the vote of thanks. And now we have come to the closure of this session. I would indeed like to thank each one of you for your overwhelming response regarding the registration of our 6-day faculty development program with our institution. We, the Department of English, Sri Saraswati THYAGARAJA College, thank you once again for joining us with this evening. We wish everyone that you will be in for the following up sessions also. Maybe we have another 5-day faculty development program. I wish every one of you should be in for the sessions too, with your presence.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much,
Welcome,
sir. Thank you very much, sir, for giving great knowledge to us. We were really, sir said, we were really enlightened by your lecture. And I think everyone, I was reading all the feedback while you are taking the lecture. They were all telling that the lecture is enlightening. Very informative. So we are so happy, sir, that you have given wonderful information to all of us. We cordially thank you, sir, for what could say, accepting our invitation and taking part in this FTP. Thank you very much, sir. And I also thank all the participants for taking part in the FTP. So we hope that you people will be continuing the FTP. Tomorrow we have another session and the information will be sent through mail as well as on WhatsApp group. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, sir. Once again, we thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now we can leave the group.
Yeah, thank you so
and we
much.
can meet tomorrow. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.